Welcome. Today we're going to talk about a really simple but powerful story. It's one of those things that might just completely change how you think about your biggest goals and why the things we want the most can end up causing us the most stress. Sound familiar? Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Think about that one big goal you're chasing right now. Maybe it's a promotion, a grade in a class, a fitness target, whatever it is. When you think about it, does it fill you with that buzzy, exciting energy? Or is there also that little knot in your stomach, that little voice worrying about what happens if you don't get it? Yeah, let's talk about that feeling. And to do that, we're gonna start with a story. It's about a young boy named Kai. Just picture him at a bright, sunny festival, full of noise and fun, and then something amazing catches his eye. And there it was. Not just any balloon. No, this was the perfect red balloon. You know the kind, super shiny, perfectly round, just bobbing so gracefully in the air. And in that one single moment, nothing else mattered. Getting that balloon became his entire world. And he got it! Mission accomplished. You can just feel that moment of pure bliss, right? He's holding the string, feeling that gentle little tug, and watching his perfect balloon just sparkle in the sun. It's that top-of-the-world feeling of pure, simple happiness. But you know how it is. Feelings like that can be a little fragile. And pretty quickly, that feeling of pure joy started to change into something else. A little gust of wind came along, the string tugged a bit harder, and this one, tiny thought popped into his head. What if I lose it? That's it, just one question. But that little seed of doubt, it changed absolutely everything. And just like that, the joy of having the balloon was gone, replaced by the fear of losing it. You can picture it, can't you? His hand gripping the string so tight his knuckles are white. He's not looking at the festival games anymore, doesn't care about the food. All of his energy, every ounce of his focus is now on one thing, protecting this balloon. He was so wrapped up in preventing the worst from happening that he was basically already living in that fear. And all that tension, that white-knuckled grip, it was all building up to one single moment. And then it happened. Something totally out of his control. A much stronger gust of wind whipped through the festival, and it really yanked on that string. He fought against it, pulling back with everything he had. Pop! And in an instant, it was over. The very thing he was trying so desperately to protect just vanished. And the feeling it crashed over him was just devastating. A huge wave of sadness, of anger, this feeling of total failure. All that effort, all that worry, all that holding on. And for what? He was left with nothing but misery. But this moment, this rock bottom for Kai, is actually where the real lesson starts. As he's sitting there, completely heartbroken, a kind, wise old woman comes over and sits down next to him. And she asks him this incredibly simple but really profound question. She says, did your pain start when the balloon popped? Or did it start way back when you first became afraid you might lose it? Whoa. Think about that. The suffering didn't start with the loss. It started with the fear of loss. So the wise woman explains this core idea from Buddhism called impermanence. It's really just the truth that nothing, and I mean nothing, lasts forever. Everything is always changing. The wind shifts, balloons pop, situations change. That's just how life is. And trying to fight that, trying to freeze things in place, well, that's a recipe for unhappiness. And that brings us to the real culprit, attachment. And this is so important. The problem wasn't the balloon. Wanting the balloon wasn't the problem. The problem was the clutching, that desperate, white-knuckled grip, both in his hand and in his mind. That's the real source of pain and anxiety. So she lays out a totally different way to approach things, the wise way. And it really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you just accept that things change. It's a fact of life. Second, you start to notice how that tight clutching is what's actually causing the pain. And third, you practice letting go. Okay, so this is obviously more than just a cute story about a kid and a balloon, right? This is a parable for all of us, for our ambitions, for our lives. So how do we actually take this lesson and apply it? Well, let's take something like a test. Clutching tightly sounds like this. I have to get an A on this test. If I don't, I'm a complete failure. The pressure is just crushing. But what if you held it lightly? That sounds more like this. I'm going to study my best, prepare as well as I can, and then I'll accept whatever the outcome is. See the difference? The focus shifts from a rigid, terrifying result to your own empowered process. So how do we actually do that? It's those same 3 steps, just for our own goals. First, do your part. Put in the work. Study, train, prepare, whatever it is. But second, at the same time, accept impermanence. Know that even with all your hard work, things might not go exactly to plan. And finally, you practice letting go of that absolute need for a specific outcome. Because here's the real magic in all of this. The moment you loosen your grip, the moment you stop clutching so hard, you stop the fear and the worry before they can even take root. The anxiety we feel, it's created by that tight grip. Let go of the grip, and the anxiety has nowhere to live. And what you get in return is freedom. It's the freedom to actually enjoy what you're doing again. You get to enjoy the process of learning, even if you don't get a perfect grade. You get to enjoy playing the game with all your heart, even if you don't win. The joy comes back into the journey itself, not just the destination. So, I'll just leave you with this to think about. What's your red balloon? What's that one goal, that one thing you're holding onto so tightly that maybe, just maybe, the fear of losing it is stealing all the joy from the experience? And what could change if you just loosened your grip a little?